Hi, it's October the 1st. I'm Mark, and I'd like to talk to you a little bit today about 4 things that can stand in the way of liberation and what to do about them. I'm not speaking on anybody's authority, it's just a perspective. So 4 things that can stand in the way of liberation. The first one is expectations. I've read in a book by a famous man or woman about what enlightenment should be, or illumination, and I'm expecting it to feel the way they said. Or I've listened to a certain speaker speak, or a friend has told me that this organisation or that organisation say it happens when this happens, or there's a method and it should feel like this, and afterwards it should feel like that. And this can stand in the way of embracing what is happening, which is the only thing that is happening. What's happening in this moment is full, it's complete, and it's what's happening. It can be a little bit like somebody who says, I think that everything should be in a spectrum of colours, should be candy pink or lemon yellow and all pretty and lovely, whereas in reality the full spectrum that makes up the complete white light is actually all the frequencies of light, including magenta and dark red and blue and orange and yellow, and it includes the whole thing. The fullness of life includes the whole gamut of experience. This is not going to filter out. Certain experiences, emotions may flush through more quickly, they may feel more immediate, but there can be an expectation that suddenly I'm going to be given a free pass or executive lounge tickets, that I don't have to go through certain things in life. That's not true in my experience. So that's the first one, is expectations about it should be a certain way. The second obstacle to liberation can be the belief that I'm too complex, that these things are all very well, looking into this moment is all very well, but I just can't get it just can't click for me because I'm too complex. I've been through too much. I went through too much in my childhood. You see, the things that work for other people don't work for me. Or I'm too mindy. Other people, it's okay. They just, oh yes, but my mind is too busy. I'm too clever. I'm too thick. But I'm too something is another clever obstacle to liberation. It's actually quite arrogant to assume that in the whole of life that what's happening here has somehow tricked the system and normal rules don't apply. And it kind of underestimates the amazingness of life, because everything is included. If this is an infinite life and an absolute being, then what isn't included in that? Something too complex? Something outside of the curriculum? I don't think so. So that's the second one. I'm too complex. The third obstacle to liberation, and this perhaps is the biggest one, can be the seeking addiction. And this can take many forms. It can take the form of looking for quick fixes everywhere, desperately trying to get something for me to be better, to get it, try to get something. It can involve hopping from teacher to teacher, listening to somebody's idea here, somebody's idea there, taking on the language of cosmic consciousness, or somebody else's language of pure awareness. Oh, I've got one, I haven't heard of that one. Oh dear, or some other language of no self. Some concepts and ideas, something to get, which the mind loves, working on a problem, sort of getting the chalk out and working on the blackboard, or the pen and working on the blackboard, trying to work it all out. Something to get. But the trouble with that is there is no real entity here to get anything. The movement here is not actually a getting movement. It's a losing movement. So the seeking addiction includes intellectualism, which means I can understand all the concepts of this, that really everything is together in one unbroken whole, and there's no real separate individual me here, but it's all an intellectual concept. I can understand, I get all the teachers' teachings, and I've heard all that they've said. And this is a little bit like going to those perfume shops at the airport where they spray a little bit on a piece of paper. And if you smell the paper, you can take it onto the oh yes, eau de parfum. Oh yes, obsession. And you feel as though you've got the perfume, but the difference is you didn't pay the 75 euros or whatever it was for the perfume. You've just got a little thing on a piece of paper, and it can be like that because we can think about what a certain speaker said. Oh yes, fall back into pure awareness and close our eyes. Oh, and it feels like I'm there. Ah yes, the tester. But the trouble is then when a real thing happens in life, I'm stuck with just the feeling of it was that person's teaching. I've just had the tester, not the actual freedom. It hasn't sunk in here. So getting stuck on concepts is part of the seeking addiction. And the last one I'm going to mention of the 4 obstacles to liberation is attachment, a certain attachment. This takes 2 forms. One could be something I'm clinging on to that I'm frightened of losing, and I think if I go into liberation, I'll lose this, or this person, or this job, or thing. And the other thing could be the opposite of that. It's something I'm avoiding. It's exactly the same thing, but the other way around. Something I don't want to happen. This may happen to me. I may lose my job. I may have to live in the woods. So I heard that somebody, went through near suicide. Oh dear, I might have to go through that. So there can be a clinging on to, this sort of tensing up and clinging on to something, or avoiding something that I'm worried about happening. This is very much a self-ploy to stay in the illusion of being a separate self that can look after itself, or try to look after itself, which actually, the funny thing about this is none of that is true. There already is no separate agent, nor was there ever. It's not going to change anything. It's just seeing what is already the case. Nothing clicks into something different, but this moment is embraced as it is. So, what would I say in terms of what can be done to overcome these obstacles? Well, we could say, let go and just sink into life, go with the flow, and no need to fight, because actually it's already happening. It's already life happening in all its fullness as you listen to this. It never was your doing. So just let go and befriend what is, and wear life loosely. Just go with it. Just as one person said, who I dearly love, breathe and don't resist. Thank you, Kelly. But actually, there's nothing you can do. It may seem like you do some of these things, but there's actually nothing you can do, because you're already sitting in the middle of liberation, just like a fish sits in the middle of water. There's a saying that you can take a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Well, I prefer the saying, you can make a fish drink, but you can't take it to water. And this is true of you, and it's true of me. We can't actually be outside of this. We can't be outside of this liberation. All that can happen is the mind can play little mind tricks, thinking it needs to get something or needs to get something different, and listening to this speech, listening to that speech, thinking, oh, it should be like this, should be like that. Just little mental ploys that keep me a little step away from what I'm already in.